Every Premier League striker has a flaw. There's no R9, there's no Cristiano Ronaldo, there's no Thierry Henry. There is no such thing as perfect. And this applies in every aspect of life, right? Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl rings and doesn't have a good relationship with his family. Your sweet, lovable grandfather, unfortunately, is a little bit racist. Michael Porter Jr. is, a MVP level candidate next season in the NBA, but he has a self-confessed women problem. And Hitler, amongst other things, bad mustache. But yeah, let's focus on Premier League strikers, because that's what we talk about on Lockdown Sports. And the way this video is going to go, we're going to go through the top 6 strikers: Haaland, Gyökeres, so on and so forth. We're going to rate what I think is the worst part of each of their game, and also how their team is making up for it. As much as we like watching the Henrys, the Ronaldos, the Carlos Teveses, so on and so forth, it's nice to see managers, it's nice to see players improvise and see how they can maximize the things that they're good at. And the conversation has to start with someone who went missing this weekend. Erling Haaland, Man City, the best striker in the world. For me, yes. For you, maybe not. Let me know. He went missing, and I was really unhappy with this whole Tottenham game, how Pep was using him, how deep he was coming in defense. Marmoush on the left, Shirky on the right. So many of these guys were further ahead of him on the pitch when they were without the ball, when Spurs were in possession. And I just thought to myself, what are you doing with Erling Haaland? Because the moment you win the ball back, he's another 5. He's another 10 yards away from the place where he works, okay? The first 60, 70 yards, 80 yards, 90 yards of the field, that is not where Erling Haaland goes to work. And you're taking him away from that if you have him drop so far beyond. And like we see with City, every big game, we always worry about him not getting his touches. But so good is Erling Haaland that this whole big game dilemma that everyone thinks about him, I've got the numbers here: 28 games against the top 6 Premier League sides, 27 goal contributions. If this is a guy who goes missing in big games, call me Madeline McCann. I want to be this guy. This is a guy known for scoring goals. Yes, there's things about the way he does. He's not the most stylish, not the most proficient in build-up, which is, by the way, what I probably should have mentioned at the start. Haaland's not great at build-up. That's his biggest flaw. Okay, yes, he can have a nice, powerful dribble from time to time, but if you get him involved in build-up, if you get him dropping back, you're not getting the most out of Erling Haaland. And luckily, Pep knows that, and he tries to keep him uninvolved, uninterested in that side of the game. But there are certain things where I wish were fine-tuned, because you know the strikers that Pep loved. He loved Jesus. He sort of loved Sergio Aguero. He loved Ferran Torres. He loved Raheem Sterling. All these guys that were either on the wing or playing down the middle from time to time. But I don't think he loves Haaland as much as he should. One thing that I wish Haaland changed about his game, this is a bit of a tangent again, but if you're here to watch this, please keep watching. I don't like that Haaland always is on the back post. I don't like it when there's a ball being crossed in and he's on the back post. I think he needs to do more of a job of falling in love with that matchup. I wanted to see him a bit more against Romero, against Van de Ven, against the big guys. I don't care if he's going to lose that matchup or if he feels like he's going to be marked a bit more closely. I think that's what you really need him to do to create space for others, because he does think of himself as a bit of a poacher, someone that, tries to go missing inside the box and capture a bit of free space. But I want him to own his size a bit more. I want him to own that presence in the box and create space for others. As much as I love the poaching, I think that's where he needs to go. All right. We've talked about Haaland, the main man, the man who you didn't recognize before he put on the mask. Victor Gyökeres of Arsenal finally scored a couple of goals and is no longer a bum. How crazy is it that Gary Neville was talking 1 week ago about not being able to trust him in big games after his debut, and then you see a much more comfortable performance against Leeds, but still, a striker coming to the Premier League. Give him a few weeks at least of mercy, my friends. What is Gyökeres' worst trait? You guys let me know. For me, I would say it's how fast he can get off shots inside the box. That's the one thing I'd be worried about. He's got tremendous shot power. He shoots with venom. Even that penalty against Leeds, you can see this is a real traditional striker. But what separates the good from the great from the elite strikers, is how quickly they can get off those nifty shots. This is what Lewandowski is known for, how quickly he gets off those shots. I worry with Gyökeres' size. Everyone's calling him a little bit chubby. Everyone's calling him a bit of a big boy, big boned, if you will. I worry about this in the Premier League, where the space is nowhere near as free as Portugal, as Germany, and all the other countries. Because you saw what De Ligt did. I want to see him against other centre-backs. I want to see him against Calvin Bassey of Fulham. I want to see him against all of the other guys, Tyrone Mings. There's a lot of big centre-backs, Ruben Diaz. I want to see how he goes against them before actually deciding. Now, in terms of how much he's actually compatible with Arsenal, if I had to rate it out of 10, and for Haaland, I think it would be about probably like 4 out of 10. Haaland does not suit City's play at all. With Gyökeres, I'd bump that up to about 6 out of 10. I don't think he's Arteta's main preferred style of striker. It's been Jesus before, it's been, Aubameyang before that, and most recently Havertz and Marino. It's been about the striker giving to the team and really flowing through Saka for end product. Gyökeres is the exact opposite of that, which is maybe what they need, but I don't think he fits in like the perfect vision of what Arteta wants to do. But hey, he's a pretty good striker. Let's see how he goes. Third striker that we'll do. Should we do the Man United? No, we'll do the Chelsea one. JOAO Pedro, new signing, came in from Brighton for a lot of money, alongside Liam Delap. Jackson came in before that. João Felix came in before that. They'll probably sign another guy. They might go in for Osimhen in a year's time. But right now, Chelsea's guy is JOAO Pedro. And this video, disclaimer, is about strikers. Yes, he had a nice week against West Ham, but he did not play striker. He was playing in the 10. So I'm going to have to disregard that. And I know you're sitting there thinking about your FPL points. Those are not FPL points. JOAO Pedro is owned by 60-70% of the league. Okay? That's FPL inflation. Okay? Those are not real points. The thing that worries me about JOAO Pedro is really end product. 0-0 against Crystal Palace game week 1. That's not enough of a sample size. But he doesn't do enough, Chelsea don't do enough to occupy that box. 3 centre-backs coming up against them, and they were tame. Now, JOAO Pedro, like with every Brighton forward, is a very giving player. They're very unselfish, and it's hurt Brighton for a lot of years, all the way back to Graham Potter, Chris Hughton. If I look at his shots, he takes about 2 shots per game in his last season at Brighton, obviously playing a little bit deeper. And those shots, average distance, again, these are averages, so it doesn't mean too much, but of 17 yards, okay? If JOAO Pedro's been so used to shooting that far away from goal, and his end product hasn't been great, by the way, at Brighton, I worry about how capable he is closer to goal, how used to he is with defenders so close in and around him, because he's not a physical presence. Yes, he might wriggle away from a couple of guys, but he's not a true number 9 the way Liam Delap is. In terms of a fit, though, with Chelsea, this, I think, is one of the best fits out of the top 6 strikers, because you have a striker that is free-flowing, that is happy to drop back, vacate the space for the wingers to run into. Pedro Neto, Gittins, Palmer, Esteval, they're all going to make use of all that space that he leaves behind. So he's a very giving player, and he'll help with build-up. So, look, I think the fit is good, but do I question that style of play? Most definitely. All right. It's time. This is not a Man United video. I'm a Man United fan, if you don't know that already, but we're going to talk about it. Benjamin Sesko has played 64 minutes for Manchester United, and I'm unimpressed. Completely unimpressed with how we're using him and how he's applying himself as well. But like I said, it's a small sample size, and every new striker, we need to give a bit of time to find out what they're really about. I'm sitting here like a heartbroken girlfriend saying, this isn't you, we can fix this. And I'm right to do so. We're only 60 minutes into our relationship. My biggest issue with SESKO is how complete he is as a player. I don't mean that in the truest sense, how much he can do every different aspect of the game. I just mean simply, can he contribute to build up with his hold up play, with his 1-2s, and be a presence in the box? The main reason I'm worried about this is because he's 6'5", and as fast as he is, he clocked 36 kilometers an hour in the Bundesliga. He's 6'5". For him to get to that max speed, he's going to have to be running really far. Okay, this isn't the Bundesliga. This is not Timo Werner's league. This is not Christopher Nkunku's league. This is not Aubameyang's league. This is the Premier League, where space is hard to find for a lot of teams. Maybe it's easier for Manchester United because we're a little bit shit now and we have to play on the counter. But he's not going to clock that top speed coming out of interplay. So I really worry about it. And the reason I worry about that complete forward sort of situation is because he said it himself. He said it himself that he wants to be Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That's the mold. And at 6'5", that size, that frame, being a bit of a technician, not on Zlatan's level, I understand that. As a player, I have no issue if your striker, your goalkeeper is setting that sort of mindset that, hey, that's the best. I've got to match that. I've got to envision that in myself. But you have to take it with a pinch of salt if you're thinking analytically. Okay? Zlatan was pretty much a 5'5" player with his feet. Okay, he has better tech than Ugarte and so many small men. Better tech than Jorginho. All of these guys in the midfield. Zlatan was better, and he was basically, at least at Manchester United, a false nine. The way he was dropping in so deep, and SESKO, if he's going to drop in deep, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. If he's the outball for Onana, Bayindir, getting out of our defensive half, I don't know if he's going to be able to make up that space and get in the box. Because the one thing at Manchester United we struggled with 2 games in is the box presence. So I don't know if we're going to get both. In terms of a fit, based on the limited sample size, I'd say 3 out of 10. In terms of SESKO's compatibility with Manchester United, do you guys think it's higher? Because I think this is one of the worst fits based on what Amorim wanted. I think he wanted like a proper target man, which is what obviously GYOKERES was in this 3-4-3 system at Sporting. All right, enough Manchester United talk. One of my favourite players to watch so far in the Premier League, it's only been 1 game of him, Hugo Ekitike of Liverpool, big money signing. They might sign Isaac on top of that. The one doubt I have, because he's from the Bundesliga and because he didn't work for him at PSG, is just his motor in big games. He's such a skillful player. He's so nice on the ball. I just worry about his intensity, because what Liverpool really needs in that position is intensity. As much of a technician Firmino is in Liverpool of Jurgen Klopp's era. Let me just make sure I'm still recording, because that would be really... We are still recording. I'm worried about that intensity being carried forward. Yes, he's a very giving player, which is, again, one of Firmino's traits, but Firmino's intensity set him apart from every other false nine. I've never seen someone play the game with that intensity, and I think that's what is needed of Ekitike in the bigger games. Let's see. I was initially also doubting his box presence, but I looked at the stats and he gets about 6-7 touches in the penalty box at Frankfurt. He did that in his first game as well against Bournemouth. So, yeah, it just goes to show not everything you think before you look at the stats is the way it is on the stat sheet. So, whatever's more important to you guys, you decide. But look, I can't argue with the stats. He's getting touches in the box, and he's a lot better than that. Than I thought he was. The last striker, to wrap this up, the cuck chair of the top 6, Tottenham Hotspur, Dominic Solanke. The best striker at Tottenham, is he still that? Richarlison's playing well. Richarlison had a lot of hype about him at Everton, PSG links back in the day, but so did Dominic Solanke. And he's in a weird spot, and I don't really have like this sort of analysis on how good his fit is with Tottenham, because I reckon it's like 3, 4 out of 10 at the moment, I guess, because Richarlison does so much of what Thomas Frank wants of his striker. He wants an outball. He wants that pragmatic style of play where the striker is a team player and it's the team creating goals. And Solanke is going to have to do a lot of work to build that trust with a new manager. I think, that compatibility is low, but how many times have we seen, we've seen Aguero go through this. We've seen Daniel Sturridge go through this. So many guys in the Premier League, Van Persie, Rooney in their later years, have gone through this at some point in their career where they have to gain the trust of a new manager. And if you are able to do it, there'll be EFL Cup games early on in the season. There'll be the potential maybe to play 2 strikers up top or play Richarlison off the left as well. So I'm interested to see how that sort of unfolds. But, I'm watching Kobbie Mainoo on the bench as well, sitting there, twiddling his thumbs. A message to all of the guys that are doing DNPs in the first few weeks: don't change who you are for the sake of a manager. In this economy, in this Premier League economy, they could die within like 2-3 months. They could get sacked in 2-3 months. So it is whatever. Just wait them out, get a loan move if you really want to. But I think Solanke will be fine. It's a much better situation to be in, 2 wins on the board, than Kobbie Mainoo is. So, yeah, there you have it. Haaland, compatibility with City, 4 out of 10. GYOKERES at Arsenal, 6 out of 10. JOAO Pedro at Chelsea, 8 out of 10. SESKO at Man United, 3 out of 10. EKITIKE at Liverpool. I didn't say this one. I think it's a 9 out of 10. I think he's a very complementing player to Gakpo, to Salah, and I think you're going to see him become one of the best big money signings in the Premier League. As for Solanke, probably a 4, 5 out of 10 because he isn't getting the minutes yet. It's too early to judge. And that's what this video is, all right? This is like a stock take. This is the current market value. These are my current thoughts on the 25th of August, 2025, of each of these strikers. Don't hold me to it in 6 months' time when they've actually played more games in the Premier League. Anyways, ciao.